This is season 4, and I am on a mission to help creatives become the most loved versions of themselves. I want to help you step into health in every single area of your life and pursue the authentic creative expression that you feel called to and that only you can. The world feels crazy right now, and we need healthy creatives more than ever. So let's get into it. I'm Courtney Lancaster, and this is the Heal Create Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Heal Create Podcast. I am Courtney, and I have one of my favorite people on the planet. That's true. It's not even flattery. It's true. Laura Duncan, the woman who created the Compassion Method, the healing modality that helped me walk through so much of my own confusion and pain and anxiety, and then also the modality that I got trained in and that I use almost every single day of the week with clients. And yeah, and I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome, Laura.
Thanks, Courtney. I'm happy to be here.
Is there anything else? I'm trying to think of like any other things that I'm missing as far as how to. Can you give us like a brief description of how you came up with this particular
for
healing modality, history with the Compassion Method?
Okay. So my history with the Compassion Method is starts out kind of in a sad way, but it ends in a really great way. So starting out was my husband passed away 16 years ago, and I had 4 small children, and I was initially motivated to figure out how to walk through pain and how to walk through grief for my kids, because I knew that they would have to go through a lot with their dad dying. Statistically, when a parent dies at a young age, it impacts those children dramatically. And I knew I couldn't control him dying, but I knew that I could help them in the process. So I started studying tons of brain books. I never actually went towards psychology, which is interesting because you would think with what I do that would have been the go-to. But neuroscience.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
And I had no idea. Like, I didn't do it on purpose. It became it.
Yeah.
I just knew there has to be something more. And I started to recognize neuroplasticity, which means that you can actually change your story. When I had taken psychology in high school, I got to the end of my class and they literally told me there's no way you can change it. I'm very old, so it's like 25 years ago. But the psychology class said that there's no way you can change. Your brain is already solidified. Whatever happened to you, and you can't change it. And I loved psychology up until that point. But then at the end, your main goal is to help people live with their lack. And I thought, that's not something I want to give my life for, because I want to just help people, live through it. I want them to actually be able to heal, which goes down to neuroscience of actually being able to rewire the brain to be able to be who we are before trauma happened, to be who we are before we experience lack and pain. And so I went through this journey to develop it first just for my family, and then my friends. And then I ended up opening it up to the world. And there's 6 parts to it. And I've just stayed in that lane this whole entire time, as you know. Not because there's not other resources. I love your journey of like your hunger, like for knowledge and understanding and application, and how you've pursued multiple different modalities and like how you incorporate them and the beauty of that. I'm always just like, Courtney just inspires me so much, because she's just gone on this like beautiful journey of the Compassion Method for sure, but also other different ways of seeing our brains and our bodies and going through the process. But for my journey, I felt like I was supposed to stay in my lane and just be very consistent in what I gave. So I've been doing this for 16 years now, same process for 16 years. And it has been amazing to help people walk through pain and lack. I always thought it was painful moment happened, but I recognize it's actually pain. Obviously is traumatic. Losing a parent, traumatic. Losing my husband, traumatic. But what I actually found, it was the lack that trauma lands on that's going to make that trauma feels so much bigger. So it actually started switching from me trying to help my kids with their trauma and to help other people with their trauma. And it switched to, oh, if I can actually get them, help them be so full, they can go through anything in life and still be okay. And that's what the compassion method really centers around. We do still face trauma. We still, walk through and bring comfort and compassion. But at the root of it, we're recognizing people that are full are going to be able to go through life so much differently than people that are empty.
Yeah, that's such a good way to say that. It actually, I remember the moment sitting on your couch.
It was a long time
8
ago.
years, a long time ago, yeah.
Ago.
And,
8
and I
years,
remember
wow.
a really long time ago, and I remember you were saying, I was like, I was so upset, I was so ha in so much pain, and I remember crying, and you were like, "You are okay, like, you are okay right now." And I remember being like, I think I asked you, like, "Well, then why what is this that I'm feeling?" Like, I hear that I am okay, but, like, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is happening?" And you said, "You're feeling your lack."
Wow.
And I just remember that moment because I was like, "Oh." So can you talk about what you mean when you say lack, feeling
Mhm.
your lack?
Yeah.
Trauma landing on lack is like absolutely. Trauma landing on fullness is actually like
Yeah.
can actually be a really beautiful
Yes.
experience, or maybe
Well,
beautiful or
yes.
grow. Yeah.
No, really. So that's why I said
Yeah.
my story starts in ultimately devastation, sadness, pain, like one of many of the worst experiences that you can experience in life.
Yeah, I
But
can't
when I
imagine. Yeah.
say it ends beautifully, is
Yeah,
when you
right.
learn how to process pain, it brings life. It
Yes.
shows us things
Every
in our
time.
hearts that have been dormant or hidden for so long.
Right.
And so pain
Yeah.
is actually, and the grief and the pain, the things we go through are actually working towards our benefit because it's showing us, hey, you have this pain
Yeah.
and you've had it since your early childhood development.
Yeah.
This circumstance, my husband dying, opened it all back up again. But I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that, even though it was very difficult at the time. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for it because I was able to see things and go through things that I'm not sure if I would have been able to go through if I hadn't gone through his death.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that I'm happy he died by any means, but I'm
Of
happy to have
course. Yeah.
gone through the grief process, and it has brought so much life.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is so powerful. I mean, even like one of the books that really solidified that idea for me was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. He was the guy in the concentration camps
Oh,
that was
yeah.
like, I get to choose how I see this experience and how I treat myself through this experience. And he taught other people how to I think like find purpose in it or something. But I
Mhm.
just remember being like, what, like there's an option for how to experience what you're
Yes, I love
experiencing,
that,
and what you're saying is the same, and it probably does have to do with fullness versus lack. So lack is the lack that you carry, the lack that you have has to do with the different kind of emotional developmental needs either being met or not met, right?
Yes,
How
exactly.
else would you explain that?
So they are your emotional needs that you needed to have met in early childhood development to be able to process the rest of your life. Because your early childhood
Yeah.
development is like your coding. What we have or
Yeah.
don't have is determining how we're going to go through every single event in our life.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we need to have an early childhood development. I've broken them down into 10 emotional needs that every
Yeah.
single human, every single child needed to experience and have an early childhood development. I call
Yes.
them gifts because
Right.
I like that when we say needs, sometimes there can be a negative connection to it because we're just feeling our lack and our pain. When you think of it
Yeah.
as a gift, which it is, it's an unconditional gift that our caregivers were meant to give us in our early childhood development.
Yes. This is
And it
huge.
puts
I have them listed.
Yes. Oh, good. Yeah. I know. I love them so much. I'm like, I just love
Yes.
them.
Yeah. Well, so we were going to say what? It puts the what?
Wait, for what? Did I get?
I think I felt like I cut you off. You were
Oh,
going
no,
to
you're
say
fine.
it puts the, okay. Okay, I'll just read it. So, like, getting those gifts from your caregivers would have enabled you to handle and process your life. So few of us actually had all of these emotional needs
Yes.
met.
Yes.
And so a lot of us grow up with a lack of care in these areas and a lack of this like sort of felt sense that these are
Yeah.
true for us. So the 10 gifts, and I'll just read them for you guys. It's the gift of being seen, the gift of being heard, the gift of being or feeling accepted, the gift of being taught, like taught how to do things, the gift of being played with, the gift of being protected, the gift of being provided for, the gift of being valued or feeling valued, the gift of knowing that you're enough, the gift of being shown affection. So, the first thing I think you still do and that you did with me was you had me like go through an inventory.
Yeah.
How many of these gifts do you feel like you received? How many of these emotional developmental needs did you experience being filled as a kid?
Yeah.
And what I noticed that happens is that people they'll like try and analyze it like, well, this did happen and I guess this was true, and they'll confuse like the legal provision of being a parent with like some of these needs, and it's not the same. Like parents are legally obligated to like feed and clothe their children. That's not the same as these emotionally developmental needs. So can you talk about how you help people to actually recognize whether or not they have these needs filled?
Yeah. So I'll kind of like walk you through what I would walk through a client.
Yeah.
So I
Great.
start out by being able to say, I want you to answer these one of four ways. Did your mom see you? Did your dad see you? Did they both see you? Did neither see you?
Right.
Each of these gifts needs to be given both by a mom and a dad because
Yeah.
they're given in such a beautiful way, uniquely by male and female, that when you put them together, it's the fullness of the gift. So, how a
Yeah.
dad sees you is different than how a mom sees you. And they
Yeah.
both have an energy to them, an essence to them, a felt
Mhm.
experience that we
Mhm.
needed. So sometimes
Yeah.
people will be raised by a single mom, and she could be like the coolest single mom in the world. But if you
Yeah.
didn't have a dad being with you and receiving that, you'll feel that lack. Often you'll feel comfortable with women, but you won't feel with men, or vice versa, because you
Mm.
didn't receive the fullness of that gift from both mom
Yeah.
and dad. The
Yeah.
other thing I always say is we're not trying to make villains here. We're not blaming
Yeah.
your parents for what they didn't give you. We're acknowledging what they either didn't know
Yeah.
how or were able to give you,
Yeah.
because ultimately they didn't have
Yes.
it within them.
That's exactly right. Yes. Yeah.
And so that's a really important thing, though, because sometimes we want to protect our parents and be like, well, they meant
Totally.
to and they tried their best. And I'm like,
Yeah.
probably so. And I hope so for you. But
Yeah.
just because they tried their best doesn't mean you received it.
Yes.
The other thing I'll say is sometimes people will be like, well, I'm not sure. I think maybe they did like one time, or I think they saw me this once. One of the other thing I'll say,
This is
yeah,
me.
yeah. I'll
Yeah.
say, if you're not sure, if you received at 0 to
Yeah.
12 years old, if you do not feel seen as an adult, you did not
Yeah.
receive it
It's
as
no.
a child.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's why like I said, we needed these in early childhood development. And if we didn't receive them, we're going to be looking for them our whole entire lives.
Yeah.
How many people that you work
Yeah.
with, Courtney, will say like, I just don't feel like they see me, or they don't see what I do, or,
Oh my gosh, all
it's
the
like
time,
such a
especially
common
creatives.
thing. Exactly. And we feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in this brain of ours, we feel like if they saw us, then everything would be okay.
Yes.
But the problem is our coding, our early childhood development doesn't have it in there. So when our adult self, our sophisticated frontal lobe, receives someone seeing us, it feels good in the moment. You leave a coffee with a friend and you're like, wow, I really felt seen by that friend. And it gives you this really good feeling. But then you go home and you get triggered. You have a reaction to something your husband says, and you're right back where you started.
Yeah.
Because we had the experience in the moment, but we did not get it in our coding. So therefore, it's not sustainable.
Yes. Yes, totally. Oh, there's so many things I want to say about this. Well, can you tell us so you talked about feeling seen and how that shows up for people and the things that they might blame um around their feeling of not being seen. And I'll just say too, from the people that I work with, like the relationship with being seen and heard, I would say they're similar in the way that you'll know there's a huge lack there when either on the one hand, the dream that person has is so hinges on how visible they are.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be famous, I want to
Yes.
whatever. And not that that's good or bad, but it's not. But when it's like that's the thing that we're white knuckling, it's like instantly like, okay, let's let's back up and help you feel internally seen and heard so that you can actually let go of that and let whatever is supposed to happen with this dream that you have. The other like flip side of it is like a hyper vigilance towards fear of being selfish. So like I've had this happen like I feel like 5 times in the last 2 weeks, so much so that it's interesting to be talking to you now, but like I really want to write a book, but I'm just like, is that selfish? Is that making it too much about me? Is that like am I just like trying to be seen? Am I trying to just like, I just like really I don't want to be selfish. And I'm like, well, selfishness if somebody's really selfish, it's because they actually live in a lot of scarcity and they're trying to grab something in order for them to feel like they have enough. So scarcity is actually not the fruit of wholeness. And it's not like a person with more integrity has no need to be seen. Being seen is actually super neutral when that need is met.
Well, I always say,
and you're just like,
for people that are either afraid of being seen or feel selfish in being seen, I'm always like, go to a playground. Don't be a creeper, but go to a playground and just observe kids. I guarantee you will hear at least 10 times a child yelling at their mom, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Totally.
And I understand like parents get distracted. They're on their phones or doing stuff. But I've been with my kids, no phone or phone's down. I'm literally watching them and they do not stop. Look at me. Look at me. They put their dress on. Mommy, look at me. Like it was actually part of our original design to say, look at me with pride and excitement and anticipation. We were meant to say, look at me. But as we experience shame as we get older, that means that you're being prideful. That means that you have ego. That means that you're selfish. That means that you just want to be seen. And so guess what we do? We cover it up.
Yeah.
And we think, especially in certain circles, that that's actually like selfless.
Totally.
Humble.
Yeah.
But it's actually
all the
not.
time.
It's not humble and it's not selfish to be seen and to say, I want to be seen. I don't need to be seen, but I want to be seen.
Yes. Yes, totally. What about feeling heard? How do you feel when you help people kind of walk through this process and they come to the point where they're like, oh, the need I was never heard.
Yes, that one is huge.
How does that express it?
So heard,
huge or cute, or both?
Huge. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So no, but being huge heard is, I think, one of the bigger ones. Just like being seen, they're all big. But being heard is huge because it contributes to miscommunication. Most people will say, "What's the core thing that you need in any relationship?" Communication. And I'm like, communication isn't actually it. What we really need is to actually know what's going on inside of us, to be able to communicate from our hearts, not to communicate to make a change. Most of our communication is how to communicate to get the other person to do what I want.
Yeah.
Which is also translation. How can I communicate to have the other person meet my emotional lack?
Yeah.
And so commonly I'll see in marriages and any relationship, being heard is huge. Yeah. Everyone's talking.
Right.
But no one's being heard.
Yeah.
And so what I'll see, and also see connected to God. One of the number one reasons people cannot hear God or do not feel heard by God is because they didn't have a caregiver, a mommy and a daddy hearing them.
Yeah.
Almost every single time when that's someone's struggle, it goes back to because a caregiver wasn't able to hear them, they don't know how to hear God or they don't feel heard by God.
Yeah. Right. And if that's your belief, well, our beliefs come primarily from 0 to 8 years old, 0 to 12.
Yeah.
If you're generous. But if you have a belief that nobody hears me, then your brain will literally filter all experiences through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do have something break through that lens, we can become really addicted to that thing.
Yes.
We can become like really white knuckling that thing. Right? Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. Because all of a sudden we're like, it's like, think of like the gifts as food. All of a sudden someone gives you like the gift of being heard and you like eat and you're like satisfied and you're just like, I've been waiting for this my whole life. Because you have.
Yes.
You've been waiting for that gift your whole life. So it is intoxicating to finally be like, they get me. They understand. Right. They hear me.
Yeah, totally. What about the gift of being accepted? How do you see that lack manifest?
So acceptance is connected to belonging. I usually kind of see that parallel, when we don't feel accepted, we don't feel like we belong. So acceptance would be, the lack of acceptance would look like I walk into a room and I expect not to be accepted. Like you said, you're filtering being heard through that. We're filtering our lack of acceptance through that. A lot of people emphasize and say, well, I just have rejection because a lot of my life people have rejected me. And I'll often say rejection is only present because of the lack of acceptance. If you're accepted, you can't be rejected.
Right.
And so often, it doesn't land. If you lack the gift of acceptance, you'll feel rejected. You'll feel like you don't belong. And you'll expect people to do that. Even though you think logically you're going, no, I go into every room open-minded. That coding I talked about is predetermining as an adult what walking into that room feels like. So when people say like, I went to this party and I just felt like nobody really wanted to talk to me. And I felt like, I didn't really feel like I belonged there. It's just because of X, Y, or Z. So we blame these things instead of actually saying, I walked into that room without acceptance.
Yeah.
If I had acceptance, I could walk into the room, whether anyone talked to me or not, and I would be belonging, accepted.
Yeah.
Because it abides in me. I'm accepted no matter what. If others can accept me, it's great. I love that.
Yeah.
But I often say I don't capital A need acceptance if my need was met in early childhood.
Yes.
I lowercase a need accepted. We all like to feel accepted. But it's more of a want to be accepted than a need to be accepted.
Yeah. the way that it feels when somebody doesn't accept you or like rejects you, which I think honestly happens way, way less than we think that it does when we're living in lack.
Yes.
Like very rarely is someone like, I don't like you, get out of here. Like that actually doesn't happen very often.
Yes.
But I have experienced like, pushback or some kind of just,
of course,
my personality is not their preference. And the way that it lands when you feel accepted, I've experienced as I've worked through a lot of this is, and obviously still have work to do, but it feels like almost like amusing. You're like, oh,
yeah,
weird. Oh, like you're like,
okay.
oh, and honestly, the thing that I always think about when like something like that happens, that's like, somebody doesn't prefer me, is I'm always just like, I could see that, honestly. I'm like, I get it. I'm a lot.
No, I love it. And I love the key word that you just said. They don't prefer.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't like you, that you are.
They might think they don't.
Bad, that you are wrong. They don't prefer how you express yourself.
Yes. Even if they think, I do not like you, you are bad, you are wrong.
Yes.
Some of the probably people from my conservative past actually do have those beliefs about me. It just doesn't land the same.
No, it doesn't.
I'm like,
it doesn't
because
mean
when you don't
robots.
have shame.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. 100%. Yeah. Like, yes, absolutely. But it doesn't like crush you.
Exactly. Because it's what you're doing or how they're interpreting what you're doing. It's not who you are.
Yeah. It's not who you are. It's like, it could never touch that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. What about the gift of being taught? I always feel like that's one that's like, people are like, what is that?
How does that mean? Yeah. So commonly, if you didn't receive the gift of being taught, it's like going into a new job and nobody trains you. So you either fail or you fake it till you make it. But you never quite know if you're doing it right. You never quite know if you can ask for help. You never quite know what a mistake is going to mean. You never quite feel at peace in the job because you just don't know if you're really doing it. Even if you're actually doing it really well, you just don't know. Yeah. So when we receive the gift of being taught, it creates this like learning incubator.
Yeah.
Where we are safe to make mistakes. We are safe to not know. We are safe to ask for help. And repeat and repeat and repeat. Because I'm safe. And a parent that knows how to give the gift of being taught. Yeah, it's so good. Gives the gift of being taught. Like they're excited to teach you. They're excited for your mistakes. Because they know we only can truly learn often through our mistakes.
Yeah.
So they're coming alongside you. But when you do not have someone come alongside you and teach you, you're always wondering.
Yeah.
And that wondering is frantic. And you'll be very cautious to learn new things. You'll be very cautious to go back to school. You'll be very cautious whenever it comes to whatever we're learning that we don't feel safe in. We will either not do it or we'll do it in fear because we haven't had the incubator of being taught.
It's interesting because I wrote a bunch of meditations over the last couple of years for each of these gifts so that
I'm so excited.
Somebody feels triggered. I know, I'm really excited too. So if somebody feels triggered, they can sort of identify like the gift of that they might feel like they want to reinforce or give to themselves through these meditations, imagining a safe person with them, giving them this gift. And with taught, the thing that was like, it was the most confronting one for me to write because I realized as a parent how often I'm like, I'll just do it. Like, it's fine. Or how frustrated I get when gosh, this happened last Christmas. We were making gingerbread houses. I felt like my head was going to explode. I'm like, it's like, so it's funny and it's sad because I'm like, oh, this is not a gift that I had
you did not.
And have had to give myself of patient person. Actually, it's interesting because in my son's classroom, we just had a parent-teacher conference yesterday. There's this beautiful poster on the wall, and it's like the 4 steps of learning. And the first step is there's an adult and a child, and the first step says, I will show you how to do it. And the second step is, I will do it with you. And the next step is, I will Or no, I will show you how to do it. I will tell you how to do it. I will do it with you. And the fourth step is you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And we can stay at any of the steps.
I
And I
love
was
that.
like,
That's it. Boom.
that is it. Like even
That's it.
the school system, even his teacher would recognize like it's important for kids to know that somebody's with them learning how to do new things. It's such an important one.
Yeah. And
And
parents
you said that so beautifully
commonly feel that when they weren't taught as kids, when their parent did it instead because they were too impatient to teach.
Yeah.
You always feel like you're not capable. You always feel like you can't do it, not because you can't do it, but because you didn't have that support in early childhood development when your brain was developing. So ultimately, what a teacher is an adult that lends their brain, their sophisticated frontal lobe, to a child to learn in whatever situation they're trying to learn in. But we can't lend our adult brain if we're triggered because we're two 5-year-olds trying to put gingerbread houses together.
Right. Exactly. Totally. And then my perfectionist part is like I'm like, it's so hard for me to watch. It has historically been difficult for me to watch kids do things imperfectly purely because it activates the survival part that I have had to develop of perfectionism.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, that is a sign of not being taught that you're not okay with messy and everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
So you're not okay with the process. And how many things that we do, even as adults, but especially as we grew up, that we did the first time perfectly? Almost none. Every once in a while, there's a fluke where you're like, I did it. But majority of the time, it's going to be messy as we learn.
Yeah.
And if your mommy or daddy didn't know how to allow you to be messy to learn, you think you have to be perfect. You have to go from 0 to 100 without support.
Yes, totally. Which actually kind of lends beautifully into being played with. Like there's a lot of connection between being taught how to do things and
definitely it's that being with. How we teach and how we play are similar in how we're with or someone was with us or with others. So play I always thought was kind of like we get to play because it's probably how I was raised. We get to play once we get our real needs met. So once we feel seen, once we feel heard, once we feel accepted, etc., then we'll get to play. So if I numbered them in importance, I would have put 10 at the bottom. I mean, excuse me, number 10 would have been play. I would put play at the bottom because I would say, okay, once we get the real needs met, then sure, we'll play. But for children, play is everything. Every single gift is connected to play.
Yeah.
Because we're meant to, that's how kids learn. There's so much studies on how kids learn through music and dance and interacting.
Yeah.
And so when even being seen and heard for children, play is like the fuel behind how our brains develop. And so I again thought it was secondary because most adults make it secondary. But for children, play is everything. And the intimacy that comes from play is so valuable.
Yeah.
And a lot of parents will say, myself included, oh, we got to get down on the floor. We have to do these imagination games. We have to do all this stuff. Those are such valuable moments. If you were a child that never got to do imagination and creative play and make messes and finger paint, go back and do it again, literally.
Yeah.
Because it's like when babies don't crawl and they go straight from, sitting up to walking and they never crawl. Physical therapists have them go back and crawl because it's brain work. It helps connect their left brain and their right brain or their front, the whole thing. It helps them connect it. If you haven't played, you may need to go back, just like crawling, because you jumped from being a child to an adult without play.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah.
And think about imagination. When we imagine, that's where dreams, creativity, wonder, awe, all come from imagination. So if you're lacking those things, get down on the floor with your kids and play.
Yeah.
But first, you have to receive the gift of play to be able to play, especially with your kids.
Yes. It's interesting. It's making me think about how hard it is to play with your kids when you have that lack. It
Oh, yeah.
feels like
I would set a timer.
torture. Yeah. Yes. Okay, come in for 10 minutes.
And I would be like, lucky, it's been 3 minutes. It's the longest 10 minutes of my life. I could do with my kids. Like I could read them books and I could take them on adventures and I could go to the park. I was really good at that. But that one-on-one.
But like unstructured play.
Unstructured play. That's where the beauty is. But it's so hard for us to get there because we never experienced it. I didn't experience that. I went from being a kid to being an adult and I missed the play. Especially a caregiver playing with me, not just playing by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the gift of being protected? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I remember having a client that was like 6'4", like 300 pounds, or I don't know, I'm really bad with how big, but a big guy. And he's sitting across from me and we're talking about the gifts. And he goes, so we get the gift of protection. He goes, no. He goes, I didn't get that from my mom or my dad. And I never felt safe. And I always felt like something really bad was going to happen. And I was like, oh, like, especially like looking at him, you're like, but you're
huge
so
guy.
big.
Yeah.
And he goes, so to this day, I sleep with a baseball bat. So if anybody tries to break in, I can protect myself.
Oh.
And it's more even how he was saying it too. Just like,
total fear.
And my logical brain's like, you could probably take anyone that broke in. But it's not about that. It's about the feeling of not feeling protected. So you will commonly feel like you're not safe. You'll commonly feel suspicious or paranoid of others.
Yeah.
You'll constantly feel like you have to protect yourself because nobody else is going to protect you.
Yeah.
And one of the key things when we lack the gift of protection, I don't know if you talked about protectors or not in past episodes. Have you talked about that?
In what way?
Just protectors that like different behaviors and different things that we connect with to protect ourselves.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. The things that we do to feel safe. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the root of that protector is multiple things, but usually it's the lack of the gift of protection that causes us to take on protectors to compensate for the lack.
Yes. Like, for example, one of my biggest protector parts is the part that associated safety with like food and sugar.
Yes.
When I went through abuse at a really young age, that just was like the natural thing that, calmed my nervous system. But there was nobody to talk to me through that. I mean, again, my parents did the best they could, but they didn't know. There was nobody to talk to me through it. I didn't feel safe to talk about it. Yeah. So if I didn't feel safe to talk about it, I was always like feeling like I was reliving it unless I could eat food, and food became my protector.
Exactly.
Yes.
But if you
and that's in lieu of that.
Yes, exactly. But if your mom and dad had known how to be with you in that event and how to protect you and help you feel safe and secure, then you wouldn't need food to feel safe.
Yes.
There's obviously other things connected to that as well, but the simplicity, of recognizing,
it feels very simple to me.
Yeah, that I did not receive the gift of protection. Therefore, I created my own protection to survive, which is beautiful. Except for sometimes
it is like it does. I know it is actually really like a brilliant survival strategy. It just wasn't sustainable.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. And so the gift of being provided for.
So that is if you're afraid of money.
Okay. Next, and the gift.
Exactly. Done. No,
that's everyone. Yeah,
exactly. Just like with the protection and how like that big guy was so scared because it was about his childhood and it was about what he lacked. It's similar with finances. You could be a millionaire, and I actually work with millionaires that lack the gift of provision, and they're constantly frantic. And you think you have nothing to worry about. You have plenty of provision.
Right.
But your adult brain knows you have provision, but your child brain believes at any moment you won't, and is constantly in a place of being afraid.
Yes.
And working and trying to do it. And even if you have money or you don't have money, you live with the same feeling of there's not enough.
Yeah. And I think it shows up in either direction. It shows up in like the overspending, trying to collect a bunch of things
Yes.
to like on
To
the
take
one
care of
hand,
yourself.
because
Yeah.
yes, if you're not used to having money and the means to like take care of yourself, then I think subconsciously we kind of get rid of money.
Yeah.
Like we'll like to get back to that familiar feeling, because our brains want what's familiar. But then on the other hand, it can also look like, it looks like wisdom to be really hyper vigilant about saving and investments and
Yes.
like all of that. But when you can tell when you're talking to somebody who's like frantic about it versus somebody who's just in their like grounded wisdom about it. And they're
Yes.
totally different experiences.
Exactly, but we mix them up. And
Yeah,
and our
totally. Yes.
front is, it's
like,
wise.
oh,
I'm a good steward.
Mm-hmm.
But what's behind it?
Yes, totally. An insecurity there. What does it mean to feel valued?
So
And why is that important?
yeah, valued
And
is
different than accepted?
yes. So accepted is connected to value in the sense of you're being accepted for who you are. But it's
Yes.
the act of acceptance that I
Okay.
invite
Yeah.
you in, or
Like,
yes.
yes.
I want to be with you. I accept you.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
value is seeing who you are as valuable. And other words that I would connect to it, because some people will be like, value, what does that mean? Value would be important. You matter.
Yeah.
Precious. One of a kind. No one else like you. So
Mm-hmm.
extraordinarily valuable that we don't even understand.
Yeah.
And one of the examples I've used is the Antique Roadshow, where like they go in and they have like this like plate, for example, and they go in, they've been like using it like crazy, throw it in the dishwasher, they don't even care, and then they go to the Antique Roadshow and they're like, that plate is worth $1 million. And they're like, whoa, what do they do with that plate? Once they know the value, what do they do?
Treat it so carefully. Yeah.
Yes, no, exactly. Like it's precious. My precious.
Yeah.
It's like precious. You're not throwing it around anymore. It's not like take it or leave it. It matters. It's important. It has a value to it.
Yeah.
It's not just value. It's you are important.
Yeah.
You matter. There's no one like you.
So what does it look like when somebody doesn't have, so if somebody didn't have that gift as a kid, what is the fruit of that as an adult?
Most of the time, our interpretation as a child when we didn't receive value is that we need to do to be valuable.
Okay.
So often you'll see strong doers.
Yeah.
People that are constantly trying to do things to show people I'm valuable. So you'll see people pleasers, you'll see people that are successful, you'll see people that are trying to constantly say, I matter because of what I do.
Yeah.
But if you had received the gift of value, you would know that you matter regardless of what you do. And my belief is that we were created with value, the unique characteristics that make up us that no one else is like. And in that value, it doesn't change. It doesn't, you don't feel, you're not more valuable because you did more. You're not less valuable because you did less. I would often think of babies. They don't do anything. And they're so valuable.
Yeah, totally. How is that different than the gift of being enough?
So being enough is, if you didn't feel like you got the gift of value and enough are definitely very similar. But the reason why I separate it and I do different ones is because not feeling like you're enough is more connected to shame. That it's pretty much saying that I'm inherently lacking.
Okay. Yeah.
Like who I am is not enough.
Yeah. Right.
So you might still manifest very similar behaviors as not feeling valued because you're trying to increase value. So people look at you and say, you're valuable. But the difference between not feeling like you're enough, even though you might still try to work really hard to be enough, is it's more connected to shame that says, I am not enough.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't do enough. I am not enough.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to do to try to feel like I'm enough, but I never feel like I'm enough.
Yeah. Right. Totally.
And I'll see that more commonly with males than females. That is one of the most common lacks that I see men experience.
Oh, totally. Great point. Yes, absolutely. How would you show a kid that they're enough?
By being able to, when you give compliments, it not being centered around what they do. So it's centered around who they are, which would be ultimately true for most gifts as well. But you're saying, instead of saying,
you look so great today. Great job on your test.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, you scored a goal.
Yes. Yeah. When we don't feel like we're enough, I mean, when a child doesn't feel like they're enough, our knee-jerk reaction is to be like, you're enough. You're enough.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. So we're trying to persuade and give compliments and encourage them, and you're the best, and you're, all those things.
Yeah.
But what they're really saying is, I don't feel like I am enough as a person. And so the encouragement that we often give kind of doesn't land because we're not actually bringing out who they are, which makes them enough. So that's when you'd want to highlight the characteristics of who that child is. So it'd be more like, you're so creative, instead of you did a good job. You're creative. And then that allows them, when they do a bad job or a good job in it, you're highlighting creativity.
Yeah.
Highlighting kindness. You're highlighting thoughtfulness. You're highlighting observing, strategizing. You're highlighting different parts of who they are, so they know, okay, I am enough, even if I don't do enough.
Yeah. Yes, totally. I've heard too that saying thank you to kids, I was just reading this book that was talking about saying thank you to kids instead of good job, because thank you recognizes that they're a valuable member of the system and they're contributing. And so it, as far as what they do, what we do, it is important and it isn't helpful, and it is helpful, but it's not identity, and it helps disconnect it from identity and sees it more as a contribution. And I love that. Yeah. The last gift is the one that I've really wrestled with so much. And it's the gift of being shown affection.
Yeah.
I feel like I have felt affection starved. And it's tricky, I think, when you have abuse in your background, because affection on one hand can feel really scary, but it's something that we desperately need.
Yeah.
So how would you why did you include that? How would you explain it?
So affection is like the physical demonstration of love.
Yeah.
And so when a parent, because it's not just, I'm giving you a hug or I'm saying the words, I love you, but it's actually, and I know some of the neuroscience behind it, but I know there's so much more. But you talk often about the physiology about how we react. So it's the body connection to affection, to attachment, to connection. And yes, for sure, if you've experienced abuse, affection and abuse can feel so hand in hand. So we can't differentiate.
Yes, totally.
And that's very, very common. But also, when we lack affection, we lack attachment. It's like when a baby's born, they often say, put them skin to skin. So that they can feel that and have that connection. So when I think of affection at it's purest form, it's skin to skin.
Yeah, like a baby.
Yeah, it is. It's like a baby that you're just holding, embracing.
Yeah.
And it's an energy that's spent between a caregiver and a child.
Yep.
It's not just, I'm holding you. It's my energy and your energy are one. I'm with you. And that felt sense, and literally, physically felt sense of affection actually restores. They've done studies of babies that weren't held and babies that were held, and how much it changed their overall success. And it's phenomenal.
Totally. Oh, and what's also phenomenal, so the nervous system word for it would be called co-regulation. Imagining being held by safe people does the same thing for your nervous system as actually being held by safe people.
Yes, I love that.
So like one of the things that I learned to do, I mean, there's obviously so many ways. And I think that if you have safe people in your life, getting as many hugs from them as possible is good. I am definitely a hugger, like a cuddly person.
Yes.
But were you going to add something?
Yeah, just real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
So as an adult, we go get hugs from people.
Yeah.
But if we're not giving it to our child self, which I think you're about to explain a little bit about what that looks like, that's another thing that people get lots of, like you said, affection starved. Some people will just be hugging and hugging and hugging and trying to connect physically with so many people because they think it's an adult problem.
Yeah.
But it's a kid lack.
Yes, totally. So I was going to say, that's exactly right. Like holding yourself, like actually holding yourself and imagining being held by a safe person, or imagining a safe grown-up holding you as a little kid, or imagining your adult self holding you as a little kid. Or this is my new favorite one. Putting one hand on your heart and putting one hand on your face.
Oh yeah, I've been doing this a lot more. It's so
yeah,
precious.
I feel like
I love the combo. I love the combo. Thank you.
Your body doesn't know that that's not another person.
Wow.
So if you are also using your imagination to rehearse what it would be like to be, I mean, that's intimate, hand on face. That's like so beautifully intimate.
And then you're like little Courtney.
Yes,
little
right?
Laura, like you're like here. Oh yeah, that is so powerful.
I know.
I love how the brain receives that.
Oh my gosh. Well, and that's the thing. I heard Amanda Cook one time in a worship service randomly say, and I know that she had been in trauma therapy. She talked about it a lot. She said, I think maybe she was praying. She was like, all healing happens in our imagination. That's where so much of the trauma happens too. And I was like, well,
beautiful
and true. And obviously we know, of course, like the trauma happens to your body, and your body is the scorekeeper for all the trauma that you've experienced. But your brain stories, neuroplasticity can change your body and can change the way that your body is experiencing the world. And so actually it's like, I talk about inner child work, and I feel like the pushback that I get, I'm like, I get it. I hear that this sounds woo, that this sounds weird. And I'm telling you, the science is so settled and only growing. Using your imagination to imagine giving yourself each of these 10 gifts changes your brain, heals your body, heals your heart, and helps you to see the world as it actually is and could be.
Yes. And that's why this inventory of our emotional needs is so valuable, because now we know exactly what to do with it.
Yes.
We are going back to our early childhood development, to our coding, like I like to say, to the moments that we did not experience these gifts. And now, through vivid imagination, we get to go back to those moments and reapply real experiences from real people to those memories, to those files in our brain. And just like you said about the affection part, your brain doesn't know the difference because it really happened. It's not a fantasy. You really had your husband give you a hug. You felt it. You heard the heartbeat. You felt the weight. You felt his energy. You felt it.
Right.
It is real.
Yeah.
And now you're taking that very real feeling and you're bringing it back to little Courtney. Didn't have a mommy and daddy that knew how to hold her like that.
Yep.
And her brain goes, I got it. Because it's real. Just reapplied.
Yes. Yes. Reapplied gifts. I'm like, I don't even want to add anything because I'm like, that's
That's
like,
it.
guys, that is it. Like, I'm like thinking of all the dumb stuff I could add. Like, well, that's technically called brain retraining, which it is. It technically connects different neural structures in your brain, which it does. It's internal co-regulation, which it is. But I'm just like, just listen to what Laura said. Imagining any small moment you've ever gotten any single one of these gifts, which every person you would say, now you've worked with like 1 million people, after they're able to calm and be with some of the pain, they'll start to realize they have actually experienced every single one of these gifts in their lifetime at one point or another.
Yes.
Even if they were small ways.
From one person 5%. Or 5 people.
Right. And using that experience and that felt sense, if you use your 5 senses to imagine what it was like to get held by your wonderful aunt when you were 8 years old, and you use that, and then you take that and you're able to apply it to whatever feels painful, whatever age in you feels painful now, you will heal. You'll heal. Yeah. This is what healing is.
Yeah.
And it has healed me. And
and you'll be able to go back to like your original design. We were always meant to have
the original setting.
This was God's design for us. He gave us a mommy and daddy to give this to us. And sometimes they weren't able to give that to us, which is so sad. Yeah. But God knew. He's been sending, which I like to call gift givers, into your life in unusual, creative ways that sometimes we don't expect, so we don't see, so we can't receive. But they're everywhere. Yeah. They're everywhere. It's extravagant. It's not just he's like, I sent that one person to give you the gift of being seen. At first, it'll feel that way. Lack says,
it does ever at first.
Yeah. But as you start to fill the cup of being seen, that's what I like to say, you start to experience different people seeing you and it starts to fill up. All of a sudden you're like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I've been seen by so many people. I just didn't see it because it didn't come in the form of my mom and it didn't come in the form of my dad. So I missed the opportunity to receive what God intended for me to receive.
Yes.
But once we start looking, it's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it is a treasure hunt. Is there anything else that you would want to say to anybody getting started on this journey? You said so many amazing things.
Yes, there's so many different things. But I'd say the number one thing is, if you did not receive these gifts, you can receive these gifts. You can.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
If any of these gifts stood out to you and you're like, but I didn't get that, you can receive it. Your brain is actually literally created and wired to receive what you didn't receive. And ready. It's so exciting. At first, the pain goes, oh, this is a problem and this is work. But then as you start to fill up a little bit more, it's so exciting because you're like, I get to go back and I get to be your advocate to your child self. And I get to bring all the beautiful experiences I've experienced in life that you never got the chance to experience. And I get to bring those back to you. I get to. It's not work. It's actually like, I get to be with me.
Yeah.
So if you start out a little hopeless, hope is coming. You've been looking for this, what we're talking about today, your whole entire life. And it's available and it's accessible. And you get to receive everything that you were intended to receive, even if you didn't receive it.
So good. Where can people find you? I don't even want to add anything.
Yeah. LauraDuncan.com. I also have a podcast too, which kind of dives into this a little bit more if you're wanting more information. That's Triggered and True, which Courtney named.
Yes, I did. I also named the Compassion Method.
Yes, you did. You were just on a roll.
We were in the zone back then.
Yeah, we were. We had our
as you can probably tell if at listening to this, I have always geeked out about this, and it's like the foundation of everything that I do with myself and my kids and my clients and even my creativity and my art. And so this is it, guys. Thank you so much again, and we hope that all of you guys have a great week. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.